how are y'all affording to go on vacation right now?
Like, how is everyone having a European summer?
How are people still affording houses?
We've all had these thoughts. You're scrolling through social media, you're seeing everyone jettison off to Europe, buy new cars, or settling into a new home. You can't help but wonder, how are they all affording this? Why does it seem like everyone has more money than you do? And a little spoiler, it's not about how much money they actually make. To start, let's talk about income. 18% of individuals in this country make more than $100,000 a year. 20% of households make over $150,000 a year. And that's a significant portion of this country, about 20%. But there are a lot of different factors that affect how you feel about that income you're making in comparison to your peers, even if you are among that 20% who makes over $100,000 a year. First off, you have to ask yourself, are you comparing yourself to people who are older than you? If you are, this could be one reason why it feels like people are doing financially better than you. The truth is, income generally increases with age. According to the US Census Bureau, people in their 40s and 50s tend to make significantly more than people in their 20s and 30s. So even if you're working the same job as them, you see them as peers, they live in the same neighborhood as you. If you're in your 20s and 30s and you're comparing yourself to a friend down the street who is 45, 50, it's natural that built up with their time in their careers, they become more skillful and increase their earnings. So if your peers are a few years older than you, they might be in a completely different stage of financial journey, and that's okay. You'll eventually reach that stage as well, and things will look completely different in comparison. Next up, let's talk about education. The median income for college-educated individuals is substantially higher than those without a degree. According to the US Census Bureau annual survey for 2022, the median annual earnings for workers with a bachelor's degree or more is $100,000. Yes, you heard that right, $100,000. So this means 50% of college graduates earned more than $100,000 in year 2022. That's a huge portion of this country. And if you are around a lot of people with degrees, it may feel daunting if you make less than that. For example, if you're a teacher in a state like I live in North Carolina, with a bachelor's degree, you're making $45,000 a year, but everyone you spend time with or college graduates as well, you graduated with them, you went to school with them, there still may be huge salary discrepancy just because the state pays you $45K and the median income for someone with a bachelor's degree is $100K. Additionally, comparing yourself to college grads while you don't have a degree will make you feel even farther away from your goals. As this graph shows here, earnings and levels of education are directly correlated in this country as of 2023, with lower unemployment rates and increased earnings every step of the way in professional degree acquired. This includes people with professional degrees, master's degrees, doctorates, and simply just bachelors. So all in all, $100,000 a year for all those folks is simply the median. That's a lot of money in this country. Another critical factor is where you live. Income levels vary dramatically depending on your location. You often hear about someone living in San Francisco or New York City is likely to earn significantly more than someone who's in a smaller town or a rural area. But there are many census metropolitan areas you'd be surprised have even more personal income per capita. Yes, I know per capita isn't the same as the median, but this just goes to show you that the income per person in these areas are significantly higher than others. This is just a list of the top 10, but there are many others with per capita incomes over $70,000 or $80,000. So living in them with just the median income will have you feeling behind. Even within cities, different zip codes can show huge discrepancies in income. So in my current home of Charlotte, just a couple miles from where I'm currently sitting, zip code 28207 has a per capita income of over $180,000. Yes, per person. That's pretty wild when you look at per capita income of the whole city of Charlotte is only $47,000 a year, 3 times more than the average for the whole city in just one zip code. If you live close to the zip code or you have friends and family who live in this particular area, they may be in a whole financial different stratosphere than you. You might be comparing your sights and sounds you see in the area. But that does not change the median for the city, and those sights and sounds you hear over there are not representative of the whole city or town. And this is the same in any city you live in. There are some neighborhoods and areas where extremely affluent, and when they have the brand new this and brand new that, you shouldn't be comparing yourself to them because they live in a whole different financial setting than you do. If you're finding this video helpful and want to see more of my content, make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. I've got another video which I think is the best video I've come out with yet, where I break down some of the biggest myths in personal finance that you won't want to miss. So check it out on my channel after this. Your upbringing can have a huge impact on your financial outlook. Studies have shown that where you grew up, your hometown, and your neighborhood can strongly influence your future income. As you can see here, the Opportunity Atlas looks to answer the question, which places in America offer children the best chance to rise out of poverty? If you grew up in a wealthy area, chances are you're more likely to be wealthier as an adult. And this isn't just because of family wealth, it's also because of opportunities, networks, and education that often comes with living in a more affluent community. If the people you're comparing yourself to grew up in better circumstances for education or opportunity, that could be the reason why it seems like they have more money. As we see in these graphs, growing up in the Midwest or Northeast is the most highly correlated to people making above the median income in this country. So if you were born outside those areas, there might be some context and some driving factors that you don't even feel or personally know about that could be determining the income you have in the future. Social media is another huge factor. Think about it. When you're scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, you're seeing perfectly curated versions of people's lives. They're only showing you the highlights of their vacations, their new cars, their fancy dinners. What you don't see is potentially the savings or the sacrifice that may have been taken out to afford these things. And let's not forget about the influencers who are often funded by advertisers to showcase their lavish life that may be way out of their own personal budget. And so next time you see someone living their best life online, remember you're seeing a small, curated part of their story. One point that is rarely talked about is familial support. You might be surprised to learn that people have their lives bankrolled by their parents or have received a large inheritance. This isn't to knock them. We have all afforded different privileges in our lives, but it's a huge factor that may come into play while people may seem like they're financially thriving, while you may be doing just okay. Family wealth can cover everything from down payments on homes to paying off student loan debt or even funding a vacation. As you could see in this Pew Research study, fewer than half of adults under 30 can say they're completely financially free from their parents. And that includes 33% of people who are aged 30 to 34. So yes, your peers may be adults and seem to be doing well, but if you're among the 67% who is getting no help from your family, and you're comparing yourself to someone in the 33% that is getting help, those financial situations are completely different, and you may never know about it going on. I have a friend who's 27 just like I am, who has been living off their parents for the past 2 years of their lives. I don't mean to knock this person or disparage the way they're living their lives, but if you're comparing yourself to someone whose parents is funding their lifestyles, you're going to feel left behind. Their parents might have the financial flexibility to pay all their bills and sacrifice for their child, but you may be doing this all on your own, and it's not helpful to compare your situation to theirs. And to continue on this thread, about 20% of people aged 25 to 34 have household expenses covered by their parents. This includes groceries, rent, utilities. That's a huge portion of this country over the age of 25 who are getting help in these ways from their parents. So comparing yourself to these people will never be fruitful if you are among the percentage that doesn't get any help at all. You have no idea anyone else's financial situation in that regard. Lastly, let's talk about priorities. In my last video, I made the case that the median American is actually doing pretty well financially. But truth is, there are still many people who are in bone-crushing amounts of debt to live a lifestyle you see on social media or in person.
Americans are taking on more debt, $17.5 trillion overall. $1.13 trillion of that is a record amount, and it's on credit cards.
And that's up 48% from 3 years ago. It's up 11% from this time last year.
As you can see in this chart, student loan debt, credit card debt, and auto loans continue to rise and rise year after year. While all of this isn't bad debt necessarily, some people are prioritizing living for today rather than saving for tomorrow. And comparing yourself to these people will not be helpful. In fact, a study from our Federal Reserve shows that only 31% of adults are on track to retire when they want to. While it might look like they all have it together now, it could come back to bite them later. Although it's sometimes tough to see other people living their best lives and wonder how they have the funds to do it, everyone needs to run their own race. Everyone's financial journey is different, and what you see on the surface isn't always the full story. So instead of comparing yourself to others, focus on your own journey and goals and what you could do to improve your financial situation. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to check out my other videos, and they could potentially change the way you think about money. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next.